Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I have a couple of comments, a few questions, and the rest I'll just wait until the OVA. Regarding just the whole my final opinion in the Winia discussion, the minister mentioned that the board member mentioned that they didn't have any information. But as a council of ministers, we don't depend on external parties to update us. We have what we call, or what we used to call a secretariat. So any information that you want regarding meetings that have been held, you ask the secretariat, you ask your staff. So it's very concerning to me that on 3 occasions it would be said that these meetings never happened, but the government itself doesn't notify the minister. And my questions regarding answers being given was not to insult, is actually, I was in that position before too. If I saw an answer that didn't make sense, I hold persons accountable because I am the person in front of the, let's say, proverbial bullet, right? I am responsible. So I want to be clear on that. And to even go further, yes, there is a current board member who's there, who was part of the discussions before, Madam Chair, who also sent documents back and forth. So I don't want, I mean, we don't have to bring out documents, but it's also inaccurate information. APS was part of it, an external party was part of it, so there's multiple parties that were part of these discussions. It's absolutely insane to me to hear that, to have a publication stating that no discussions happened. I mean, so all the council ministers that were there before lied or just made up these stories. Yes, and then the other comment I have is regarding the tax holiday. It was also stated that, and I really appreciate those answers, it was also stated that during the tenure of the last government, 5 were given out. And again, Madam Chair, I want to believe that, like the minister mentioned, that we're not misrepresenting the truth. I want to be clear on that. I can't forget that I was there. I can't forget that 7 months ago, I was a minister. I can't forget the things that we did or we went through. So, yes, a tax holiday was given out to a project that consisted of multiple entities, but it was approved by the relevant departments, so the Ministry of TIAT, ETT, also approved by the Fiscal Affairs Department, approved by the Council of Ministers, and this was a time during the pandemic, and like the minister said in one of her answers, in a time where even the Parliament of St. Maarten, we could go back and watch those videos, some of us were there, were stating we have to do our best to be able to attract these individuals. We have to be able to bring in companies, especially dealing with the Netherlands and finding money on our own. So with the support of Parliament, yes, we had every single approval, not one negative advice at that time for the project, yes. In addition to that, the entity also mentioned about the external CSR that they were doing. And that's why I said also for the last one that the minister, in her own answers, said that was approved by this council of ministers. And the answer given regarding, because I think another MP, I think MP Myers asked if these could be sent to Parliament confidentially. I don't agree with the answer given by the minister. And next week when we have the OVA, I'll be looking for them to be sent, both of them actually, to be sent to Parliament so that the MPs have a realistic picture of what happened and to lower the misrepresentation of the facts. We have the minister mentioned that the reason why we give out tax holidays, and there are some reasons, for example, why the Ministry of TIAT would not give out tax holidays. For example, the Ministry of TIAT, who gives the advice first before it goes to Fiscal Affairs, would mention things like maybe overdevelopment in the area. They would mention things such as an entity already receiving significant benefits, economic features such as tourists already buying condos. They might mention also that construction in certain areas might lead to gentrification. They might also mention that there's already separate financing and other examples of concerns, Madam Chair. So the Ministry of TIAT gives their advice, and if my question to the Minister would be, Madam Chair, were these in place with the approval? So I mentioned before, yes, it happened in the past. Now it happens in a demissionaire status, right? So it wasn't that it was in the current government. It was a demissionaire status before elections. And what would the reason be if it was approved against all the answers the minister gave herself for the reasons why to give? So if the reasons were given why we give a tax holiday, but the advices given by the ministries were exactly in the opposite or negative of those same answers, then why? And to be clear, it's not that we are, let's say, as another person said, against or for tax holidays. My thing is to point out the hypocrisy, Madam Chair. The fact of saying one thing and doing the exact opposite of those things. So I'll end it there, and I'll further elaborate, I guess, in the public meeting, Madam Chair, but I'm looking forward to some clarifications and less misrepresentation of the truth.
Thank you, MP Irian. I continue, and I had seen MP York, but then it's no longer necessary. We don't have, and I see MP Myers. MP Myers, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks for the answering the questions, Honorable Minister. I'm missing something, and please forgive me. I'm just here a couple of weeks now, but I'm missing. People tend to think because I've served before that I'm abreast of everything that goes on, but I'm playing catch up actually. In your opinion, Minister, one of the things, especially with this Winair thing, and I just want to get a grasp on it, and be that as it may, and I've sat on both sides of government, in the executive and the legislative branch, and a lot of times we discuss a lot of things. Some of those things come to fruition, some just don't. So my question isn't, is there or was there meetings in regards to the sale of Winair? My question is, in your opinion, is it wise to sell government assets in order to balance government's budget? That's the sale, because eventually, once you, in my opinion, once you sell all the assets, then you're left with nothing, and you will still run into the same problem that we are presently in, having to make cuts in the budget in order to have a balanced budget. So, in your opinion, is it a wise decision to sell, the assets of government to balance government budget? It reminds me of, again, another situation, another scenario where some 20-something million guilders was taken out of another government-owned company to balance the government's budget. And now that government company finds themselves in a quagmire now, in which you have to take capital expenditures to help that very company. So again, why is it whenever a company seems to be doing good, it is the first MO from government, modus operandi, to go and, in our local twang, rinse out that company? That's all I have to think for now, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Myers. I see MP Artwell requesting the floor. MP Artwell. Irian.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. To follow up on MP Myers' questions, I'd like to know, in the minister's view, how many companies or do you know of the governmental trend of divesting companies? So if you look at the trend of the last 15, 20 years, how many, even in the Antilles, in the Netherlands, for example, why would government divest companies? Why are they going through this process around the world? So this is not a local trend. I think we're one of the few in the world that still have so many or 100% shareholder of government entities. And do you view, for example, a difference with selling an asset and selling shares in a company? In addition to that, do you believe in strategic mergers and acquisitions? Do you believe in selling shares to gain a partner? So that, let's say, for example, with GB, for example, if you have a big solar company that is willing to buy shares within GB, and now GB now has a strategic partner within their reach that could not only now, let's say, give advice, but because I'm invested in the company, I now also am able to say, hey, if we need a generator, we'll put the money in, because by us bringing a generator in, X amount of revenue is generated. So I would like the minister's opinion on those couple of points, and then we'll go from there. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Irian. I see MP Myers requesting the floor. MP Myers?
Thanks again, Madam Chair. Again, I want to make something clear, abundantly clear here today. I am in favor of acquisitions, mergers, and takeovers. I'm also in favor of if in the event that government is a shareholder. That's not the question that I pose to the Honorable Minister of Finance through you. The question that I pose is basically, I want the opinion of the Minister of Finance, who is at the piercing tip of the sword right now as it pertains to our finances in this country. I want her opinion whether it is a wise decision to liquidate the assets of your government-owned companies to balance the budget of government. That is the question. Not whether what the global trends are and why other persons are, other countries may be divesting in certain areas. Certain technologies render themselves obsolete after a period of time. That's understandable. You adjust your sales according to the market. I understand that. But some decisions are either wise decisions or some decisions are unwise decisions. And I just want to get the opinion of the minister as it pertains to that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Myers, and thank you for kind of bringing the topic back to the draft budget amended budget 2024 that we have before us. Members of Parliament, that is the discussion that we're having. And I say this because I see us going in the direction of discussions about policies and those kind of things. And while I respect it, this is not the time for it. We are in a central committee to do an investigation sort of into what the government presented as its amended budget. Yes, I agree. The Winair matter is part of that discussion because it has been taken out of the budget in this budget amendment. I didn't hear any reference to a unanimous motion passed by Parliament regarding government's intention when the Winair was included in the Winair sale of shares was included in the budget 2024. Parliament actually issued a cautionary motion with respect to that decision by government to include it in the budget. And it was not, no, it can't happen, should never happen, and whatever have you, but to make sure that due diligence is observed if government is going to use a word that is also in the motion, divest or not. So I just want to, members of parliament, kind of get it back on track with what we have before us now in this central committee,